everyone, and welcome to the Analytics podcast, where we dive into conversation that inspire growth, innovation, and real impact. Today's episode is one that I'm really excited about. Why? Because we've been trying to get our guest on the podcast for a while now, and I'm so excited that we are about to discuss a very important topic that everyone can relate to, which is about saving, building wealth, even in a broken economy. Our guest today is no other person than Aderimike Lala, who is a data analytics enthusiast and a finance speaker with a master's degree in business analytics from the prestigious Ivey Business School. She is the founder of WealthSavyGenZ, a platform dedicated to educating and empowering young people with practical financial knowledge. She's passionate about learning, excellence, and driving impact through data. Aderimike's journey includes academic excellence, community involvement, and leadership. And we are so excited to have Aderimike on our podcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Aderimike. Hi, Aderimike.
Hi.
Honey, it's so great to finally get a hold of you on our podcast.
You've been a long time coming.
Yes, and before you came on board, I was reading your bio to the audience, and I was talking about how you enjoy helping young people build wealth. And I just want to put this on the side note that we're stalking you on Instagram back to back, because so that shows like how much you've invested yourself into that niche. And I'm glad that you are here today to speak to us about the only saving strategy that we need as young people to get rich even in a broken economy. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Do you have any opening remarks you want to share with us before we deep dive into it? Just something chill, maybe something about your week that just took you aback and or something about your day. So just an opening note before we start proper. Yeah.
Okay. I'll say it's a new month. So this new month in my mind, I've been trying to kind of lock in back into some of my goals. I need to lose some weight, all of those type of things. But then the week has been an interesting week because I've had a lot of work at my day job, and I was just thinking how hard it is to be able to build both like a platform, a brand, and navigating business. So I'll say my week has been okay, but not too okay. Like there's been ups and downs. But the goal is that this next quarter, I really want to tap into ensure that I achieve a lot of my goals when it comes to my health, fitness, and even just like career, how much I want to make, that type of thing. So hoping I can lock in, even though the locking has not yet started, but hopefully it will start this week.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And true, yeah, you just made me remember that in October. True.
For real.
Yeah, it's how many months down to the end of another year, you start to think about your goals and all of that. But yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. Thank you so much for sharing once again. So an opening question would be for us to do like a quick reality check, right? The topic is about how to get rich in a broken economy. So what does a broken economy means to you, like personally, and how has it shaped like your money habits? Yeah, while building your career.
Yeah. So I said broken economy is the economy we're currently living in, where there's so much unemployment, young people don't have jobs, there's stagnancy, or people are even working so hard and they are unable to even make a decent living. And it's very sad. And also I think another major definition is like there's high inflation, and also like the gap between rich and poor is getting wider. Now the rich keep getting richer, the poor keeps getting poorer. Now we don't even have middle class again. It's just, is that you have money or you don't have money? So I think that has really opened my eyes to having to be very strategic when it comes to building wealth, like being able to also start fast, because that, I think that's one of the advantages I've had. I'll be able to start really early in like when it comes to like having a good personal finance like system in terms of saving, investing. But And also because like I don't know what the future is gonna say, like I don't know what's going to happen. So ensuring that I'm also like spreading my risk, I'm diversifying for my future, for my legacy, that type of thing. So that's kind of what has led me on this part, or part of the reality that we're in. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Aderimike. I like that you're talking about building a legacy. I mean, and it's something that people would always like think about. People that are actually serious about building wealth. Like, how much do I have in my bank account that I want to leave? Let's say I'm no longer in this world, or to my children, or that. And that is why the next question is really important, because it also like bring us to how to learn like a survival kind of kit. So the question is, have you ever felt like saving money was impossible? Like, you were just trying to survive, not save. And if you have ever felt that, what changed that for you?
Yeah. So the reality is that I've never felt like a point where I've had to deal with survival. And then the reality is that I have unfair advantages. I was pretty, I have that privilege where even when I was working in Nigeria, even though I was not earning a lot, like, because it was doing NYC, I still had a house. I still had food in the house that I didn't have to pay for. So I had to be very realistic. There are unfair advantages and privileges that I've experienced. And so I've never felt a point where it's like, oh my God, I need to survive type of thing, because I also knew at the back of my mind that if anything should happen, I have my parents to fall back on. That's the reality. But I'll say, like, in recent times, like, also because now I moved to Canada when I was 21 or 20, and I've been independent since then. Like, I started making money, like funding my rent, all of those type of things. I even took student loans. My parents they still help. They still paid for maybe like 60% of my school, but I still paid 30% of it too. But my point is that I started, like, I was not asking for money again. Like, at that point in time, I was on my own. So I think that was the point where I'll say, like, it felt like I was still saving, but like I wasn't saving as much as I wanted to, because I had so many things I had to pay for. I was paying for my rent, I was paying for my feeding, I was paying for my student loans. I already started paying off my student loans. So that time it felt like I knew that responsibility was on me to actually sort things out. And I'll say even in recent times now, like I've always been saving, and I think that's one muscle that I really built early on, even on little amounts. And so I think that's helped me even when in times when it feels like I don't have a lot of income. Because now sometimes I just feel like, oh my God, my expenses have increased to match my lifestyle, and I'm just like, we need to save back. What's happening? We need to save more money. So I'll say those have been my experiences, not like severe survival, I'll say.
Yeah, so I was taking notes while you were speaking, and when you mentioned unfair advantage, it just brings me to the old argument about Nepo and Lapo. That was like the old table that was shaking all through, like on Thread, on Twitter, and everywhere. And I just wanted you to talking about unfair advantage. Like, what do you think that is something that plays well for people that have that, or it's something that regardless of even having the unfair advantage, you have to also be strategic about it?
Yeah.
So the whole argument about Nepo or Lapo, what's like your take about it?
Yeah. So I'll definitely say the whole having unfair advantages is just a leg up. At the end of the day, I can have the unfair advantages and make nothing out of it. So it still lets to you to take advantage of that thing, of that leg up. I know I was listening to, who was it? I forget. One of the actors, and then his child was talking about the fact that, and they were asking him that how does it feel to also be trying to be an actor in the stage where his dad was an actor, and he was like, yes, like it would be unfair for me to not take advantage of these doors as they open up to me, but it's still left for me to actually make a name for myself. And that's the same thing. It's like, yes, I've been given this leg up, I've been getting this opportunity to go to good schools, to be able to travel and go to a good school, but if I did not take advantage of it and try to like further myself, research, do things, ensure that I am marketable, my skill set is high, I'll still be probably mediocre. So it's definitely as he says, unfair, because it's like it's not everybody that gets the same advantages. But like once you have the advantage, you still have to be strategic as to how you use it and make a difference for yourself. Because the reality is that we also have examples of people that have unfair advantages. They have more money, they have plenty money, but they've not done anything with the money, or they've not made a name for themselves with the advantage they've had. So there's that. I think you've cut off. Is it me?
Hi, Aderimike. Yes.
Hi, I think you caught up for a bit.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I also took note when you were saying that, like the fact that you always save, like regardless of the amount that was coming in, there was a little amount I was there for you to save, and that brings me to like the next question: that is there a right amount or a right percentage to save? Are there any, or is it just like financial pressure? Are there any quota that work for you, and you think that you should put that out there for people to also know?
Okay. Yeah. So I won't say there's any right amount or right percentage. I always say this. Personal finance, as its name, it is personal. What I can save is different from what another person can save. However, I'll say definitely when you're younger, you don't yet have a lot of expenses, you don't yet have a lot of responsibilities. And so the goal is to optimize on that saving percentage where it's high. So we're thinking at least 40%, 50% when you're in a season where you don't have a lot of responsibilities. So I'll say definitely optimize, because I'm going to get to a season where the amount of money that I'm able to save now, I wouldn't be able to save, because now I probably have a family, I will have children, I have to start thinking about that. So now in the season where I'm single, I'm young, I need to optimize on ensuring I'm saving the most money per time. So I'll say personal finance is personal always, but just ensure that you're maximizing your seasons, your different seasons in life. Your season of like where you're single, you don't have a lot of responsibilities. Maximize on that, save a lot, invest a lot. Investing really makes a difference when it is long term and you start early because of the power of compounding interest. So start early and save as much as you can in that beginning phase. And also like try and reduce your expenses. So there's something lifestyle inflation. When your income starts to increase, a lot of people, their lifestyle expenses also start to increase. Even me, it has caught up with me in recent times where I'm going to be like, okay, auntie, slow it down. You will not be able to save this money when you have a family. I love it, Terry. So it's like being cognizant of like, okay, how is my lifestyle increasing to match my increase in income, and ensuring that at least even if now you're earning more, now instead of increasing your expenses, your lifestyle expenses, increase your savings rates rather. So maybe you're doing 30% now. On the same now your higher income, increase that to 40% or 50% and continue to increase that as time goes on until you get a season, because I'm not going to lie, there'll be seasons where it is hard to save when you have a family. I know, like, especially in Canada, childcare is expensive. All of those types of things, or even like abroad, it is expensive. Even in Nigeria, so I'm very sure childcare, food, everything is expensive. So those seasons, it will be harder for you to save as much. So take advantage per season.
Thank you so much. Me, I'm taking note though, and maximizing this season is very cool, because those of us that are single now, I mean, it's actually like you said, it's very easy for you to save now.
Yeah.
Than when you have like a child, when you have like a partner, both of you have goals and all of that. Because we're in Tech Unbound podcast, and that question would be, what role does tech play in building like good saving habits like in today? Are there any apps that you've used or tools that you've used over time and you know, yes, this has helped me, this will definitely help you? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll say tech plays a role because most tech people have a higher income than the average people. And so in that sense, you can leverage the fact that you're earning a lot more than other people and save a lot more. So now, I'm not like, you're not going to get 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom apartments. Why do you need a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment when you're only the person? So now it makes sense for you to save more money now versus when your needs will arise to match it. So that, I think that's the major difference when it comes to tech. You have a higher propensity to earn more money and save more. When it comes to tools, I'll say the basics, genuinely speaking, I'm still kind of, I won't say old school, but I still use a lot of budgets like and Google Sheets. That's what I used to track my money. Everything is on my budget and my Google Sheets. I have tried the apps, but I feel like the apps don't give me as much visibility as I would like when it comes to like tracking my net worth or how much I'm spending or that type of thing. So my budget sheet, I sell one, is one that I've definitely used. But in terms of like maybe also like apps or things like that could help in terms, I know like in Nigeria there's PiggyVest. I know my siblings saving, that's a good place to be to lock up your money. They also have that locking feature where you lock the money so you don't have access to it. So that's a great feature for you to just pack money outside, but ensure that whatever platform you're using, ensure it's high interest. So when it comes to, and this is when it comes to saving, I'm not talking about investing, that's another topic, but when it comes to just saving your money somewhere like your emergency fund, let me backtrack. Emergency fund, I don't know if you don't know, but emergency fund is like 6 to 12 months of your living expenses that you save for emergencies. So life issues, maybe your car breaks down, or maybe you become sick, or maybe you are in a bind where you need to help somebody, maybe family. So that's what emergency funds are. So I always recommend that you save that 6 to 12 months in a high interest savings account. Now in Nigeria, it may look different, but like places like PiggyVest will have a certain amount of high interest. And if you're in different parts of the world, just look for higher interest banks versus the regular traditional banks. And then when it comes to investing, you also need to invest. That's another, I don't want to go into that yet, but that's another.
Yeah, I'm glad you are even talking about investing, because there's a, like you mentioned, that there are like stages in which you would know that, oh, this is time for me to save, this is time for me to invest. So at what point do you think you would know when to invest, or at what point is it immediately you started saving that you started investing, or there was like a nudge that, oh, I've saved a lot, oh, now maybe this is the next? At what exact point do you think someone would start investing?
I'll say immediately, as soon as you turn 18, start investing, because investing really makes a difference when you start early. Like people that start investing at 18, I know people that start investing at 18, by like 20 something, they bought a house, or they built their net worth to how much, like millions of naira or thousands, depending on what currency they are. So I think the check mark to always ask is, so there's always a different divide between, okay, do you save and invest at the same time, or do you save then start investing? Do it what way works for you, as long as it makes sense for you. But what I always recommend is don't sit on too much cash, because I find that lots of people are sitting on too much cash because they're trying to save. So the check mark in terms of cash can be that 6 months to 12 months amount. So once you calculated what that amount is and you save that amount, just start investing everything else. There's no need for you to continue to sit on more cash than is necessary. Start to invest everything else. Another way that people also try to do this is they do both of them together, and I've done that in my own life, where I'll first of all save, like for instance, like a beginner emergency fund, so maybe just 3 months. So I think when I was paying off my debts, I first of all saved like 5k, and then the rest of the time I now started putting a lot of money towards my debts and my savings, but because I wanted to really pay off my debts ASAP. And also when I paid that off and I was like, okay, now I can finish my emergency fund and continue to invest. So then I was now doing it simultaneously. I was splitting the money like I think 30-50, because I already had a decent amount in my emergency fund that it was like 4 months of whatnot. So until I hit the 6 months, I was just doing it simultaneously. So there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you allocate your money properly to hit those goals. But my own is like, don't forget not having an emergency fund, because it does help out when life happens.
It does. Thank you so much for sharing. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, like a game break rather, not a commercial break. So it's something we do at the podcast. I'm going to say a word, maybe savings, since we're talking about savings. And you're going to tell me one word that comes to your mind when I mention S, A, V. You don't have to think about it, just something that comes to your mind. Yeah, so we'll go at the count of 3, right? 1, 2, ready, go. S.
Sleep.
A.
Abundance.
V.
Velocity.
I.
Ink.
N.
New.
G.
Game.
S.
Sleep again. I need sleep.
Oh my god. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. The last time we played this game, I guess I was saying food. Different kind of food. Right. Never. So much for playing that. All right. So the next phase is talking about people, like, let's say, like financial literacy, right? It is one thing to have the money. It is one thing to know where to save to. It's another thing to have the knowledge of how to invest smartly. And that is why, this phase is actually very important. And thank God we have your one. So for someone that is scared of investing because they don't know enough, there's so much information. Earlier last month, they said Sterling Bank is selling something, and people that don't even have any idea, you say, everybody, let me just buy. Oh, I need to buy it. And I'm like, you really know much about this that you're actually buying. You get? So, and that's what comes to this question. People that are always scared of investing because they feel like they don't know enough. Where should they actually start from?
So I'll say definitely there's a lot of information out there. I think that's something that I've found with people that I even coach. They have so much information, but they don't know what to do next. So I'll say you have to educate yourself. So I love that there's so many YouTube and whatnot and content, short form content, because I also share short form content. But I'll say start with a book. Probably start with, for instance, like The Psychology of Money. That's one book I really, really like, Morgan Housel. And then from there, you can then build up on books on investing. I forget the names of some of them, but I can give it to you later. But then you start from there. Then also go on YouTube and watch people not people that will just come and talk about finance funds, but people that actually have like good content about it. For instance, Graham Stefan, that's one of the old people that used to talk about money from the beginning. Right back from Nigeria. Those are one of the first people I started watching that really gave me an insight into finances, and just like even like me thinking about getting student loans. So start watching that. And then the next thing to do is to take action. Now I find that a lot of people, after they've gotten over the whole knowledge piece where it was like, okay, they actually, when you ask them questions, they actually know what to do. It's not that they don't know what to do, but they're scared to take action. Do you understand? So the next thing is, once you gather, like, actually be very, very intentional about it, not just watching, today, what this person. Actually be intentional about it. Sit down and plan your reading or your learning schedule. How do you want to learn? You say today, I'm going to learn about how to, the mindset, the psychology. Tomorrow, let's learn about saving. Tomorrow, let's learn about investing, and look for resources on all of those buckets. So that all of this thing, I'm saying you actually have to sit down and plan it. Then after, the next thing you're going to do is to plan your action, what you're going to do. And that's something I want to even start talking about more, financial planning, because I find that people are just going with the flow. Do this. Everybody say do this, you're doing it. No, have a plan and stick to your plan. That's what makes a difference between a speculative investor versus actually a good investor. You have a plan and you stick to it every single time. So now that you've decided that you already have the knowledge, you know what it is you want to do. Now say, okay, this account, I'm going to be buying, if it's ETS, or I'm going to be buying this bank funds, whatnot. By the 6 months, I'll come back and review the stocks. Do they make sense for my portfolio again? Do they make sense for my goal? And keep it moving. Yes, you should still open your ears to opportunities, but make it make sense for your plan, not just what the world is saying that you should do. So I think that's something that people need to start doing more. Just the entire concept of sitting down and financially planning your life and planning how you're going to make moves versus just doing everything that somebody is saying.
Thank you so much, Mika, for sharing that. And I've taken down most notes to share with my own people later. But yeah, the first thing is having the knowledge, the adequate knowledge. Go on YouTube, read books, and if you know some names, which we're going to also share along the line and the podcast. Another one is to take action, right? But before you take action, you also need to plan financially, right? And afterwards, you need to come back, after taking the action, to review what's your, like an appraiser said to say, okay, appraising yourself. What have I done wrong? What have I done right? What should I do next? So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that piece. The next question would be to ask you, what are myths about money and savings that you wish that more people would unlearn? What are those myths, especially when you look at Nigeria or Africa? There's a lot of pressure to help family. Are you doing well? Or how to balance responsibilities? What are those myths about money and savings that you wish that more people would unlearn? Yeah, so what they would learn and what they would then unlearn.
Yeah, so I can start from the myths that they need to unlearn is the fact that people think that it's only a select few that can have money, and that is very, very wrong. Money and building wealth is not meant for already rich people. It's meant for everybody, and everybody has the opportunity to achieve that as long as they set their goals and they put in the works towards achieving things. The second thing is that investing is gambling, or investing is going to take your money away. That is very wrong. Like, I have so many personal examples of people that have made a lot of money from investing consistently. My grandpa is an example. He started investing. I wouldn't say he started investing young. Like, I won't say he was investing 20, but like he started investing like very, very consistently. And now in his 90s, like probably almost, I don't know his net, but he's probably almost like he has a lot of money. And so the fact is that all he did was being consistent with it, continue to buy. When he has the weakness, he will buy back. So consistency is also the game. I find that lots of people want short-term investments, and that's where they miss it. When you're focused on short-term, fast money, that's the problem. Building wealth, attaining a certain level of wealth takes time. Even Warren Buffett, he got 60% of his wealth after his 60th birthday. Yes, he was already a millionaire, but his 60% of his entire portfolio was after his 60th birthday. So being able to stay the cost and stay the time is also an important thing, because I find that a lot of young people were in a rush. And I don't know what is chasing us, but we're in a rush to make that money. Take your time, do what you need to do, and stay the course, and it'll make a difference. Now, things to learn is the saving habits. I feel like the background, that's even the beginning. A lot of people don't know how to save. They are not used to keeping money somewhere. Their body will be scratching them. No, you have to save money. You have to get into that habit of saving. And I think that's something that made a difference for me. Even right from when I was in undergrad, I went to Bangkok. My parents were not frivolous that they were giving me all the money. No, they gave me what was only enough. And even with what was enough, compared to some of my friends, I was probably getting the smallest stipend. But I was still saving a lot more than them, because I was very, very, very like on the job, like I want to save irrespective of how much it is. And so with that mindset, even when I started doing NYSC, how much was I earning? I think they were giving us 35,500. My total money was at that time was like maybe like 50k. I was still saving from that money. So being able to save when you little will make a difference, even when you have a lot. You cannot have the mindset that, oh, when I have money, I'll start saving. Because when you have money, you're not going to start saving because you never used to save. And the reality is that your want to now increase to match that increase in income. I always like to use the analogy of like a fridge. You already have a small fridge that you be managing. When you now buy a new fridge, all of a sudden you find that new fridge is all of a sudden full, because there will be things that you add to it. That's the same thing with life. If your income is small, you're like, your income increases, all of a sudden you'll be thinking, oh, I can save more. But life will happen and things will just come in to cover it all. So you have to be very, very intentional about saving. Then also the piece of like helping people black tax. I know that's one conversation that is very, very important. I don't know if you want me to touch on this now, or I can.
You can talk on it, and you can also like share like personal, if you have like any personal experience or story.
Yeah. So I'll say for me, black tax, I've also privileged in the sense that my parents don't exactly need anything from me. I am the one that I give. I'm the one that volunteers to give. I'm the one that is helping out and whatnot. And so what I do is to ensure that I have a budget. But black tax does not just even limit to my family. It can be friends or it can be all of those things. I have a budget line every single time. If the money that I've budgeted for the month finishes, there's no money to give again if you come and ask me for money until the next month. So that's something, and that doesn't even have anything to do with my own nuclear family. Like, is me giving, they don't need it or anything. But like external people that are asking me for money, if the budget has closed. So that's the first thing. Have a budget line for black tax in your calendar. Have a budget line, because the reality is that black tax is our reality. But one thing you should plan to do is that ensure black tax ends in your generation. And so that's why you have to be able to be strategic to build wealth, so that you, when you are old, you will not rely on anybody for money. That's one thing. Then another thing that I'll say that has made a difference is also upskilling your family members. For instance, like you have a sibling back home, or you have a sister even like in the same Nigeria that you are in, and they're constantly collecting money from you. Upskill them, tell them to go and learn a skill. I recently paid for my sister to go and learn how to do her nails. Now when she's ready to actually learn how to do nails, now when she's ready to actually start to, because she has a 9 to 5, well, when she's ready to start to make extra income, she already has that skill set at the back of her hand for her to leverage and pull and start to earn another money. So all type of things, upskill them, send them to a trade school. It can be makeup, it can be whatnot, it can be carpenter, it can be welding, whatever it is. Upskill them and get them to a point where they are able to generate income by themselves. And even if we come to even paying their school fees, do that, because you're like that. There's a promise that you're going to be a citizen of the country, that you'll be able to earn money. Do things like that. Think long term. And even when it comes to aging parents, if you know that your aging parents unfortunately do not have a retirement, because unfortunately that's what happens to a lot of African parents. They have not thought ahead because they spent a lot of their money on their children. And that's also why you still have to take care of them, because they've literally sacrificed their lives for you. But you just have to make it very, very clear as to what you will do. Be very transparent. This is what I have. I have my own personal goals. I want to save and build wealth so that my own future also will be good. But then you have to be very strategic and start to think, maybe you start to build a fund. Now there's a lot of like ARMs, Stanbic, they have pension funds that you can start to look out for, okay, now my parents are not retired, but they're going to retire in 5 years, and I know that they don't have any source of income. So let me start planning for their retirement. So build a fund for them that they can leverage out later on, so it is not on your neck. So you have to be thinking long term, so that in the long at some point they don't really start to rely on you again. Does that make sense? So that's what I'll say is can help with black tax.
Right. Thank you so much for that. That was extensive. I mean, the way you even dive into black tax, it covered like lots of questions I've had lined up. So now I have a scenario and I want you to like fix it for us, right? Let's say that someone has 5,000 or say $10 left after paying like bills, after giving black tax, they have like 5,000 naira, that's maybe, or $10 left for their own money that is, let's say, miscellaneous. You don't have anything tagged to it particularly. What is a realistic first step that they can take with that $10 towards financial freedom?
Okay, so the realistic situation is to start to, if they don't yet have an emergency fund, they need to start to put that money towards an emergency fund. So maybe that's another myth. A lot of people think that you have to have big money to start saving and investing. It does not need to be money. It's just like a little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. As long as you are consistent with that $10 or $20, it's going to add up. That's one of the questions I get a lot. People, like maybe young people, be like, oh, I just have $20. I'm like, start investing it. It will add up. Like, I have somebody that I know that she literally was just putting $20 because at that point in time, that was all she could afford to put into her investing. And the amount of money that she has in like 1 year, she was like, wow, if I had this money, I would have put it into investing. But the fact that she was doing it regularly, she has built like, almost 1,000 off of that 20,000 because the market has also done well to help push it. So start with, if you don't have an emergency fund, target the emergency fund. Then second of all, think about how to make extra income. There's two levers when it comes to saving more or investing more. Is that you reduce your expenses or you increase your income. Now, there's only so much you can reduce your expenses by. You've looked at your budget, you've cut. At some point, you have to increase your income. Now, I'm not going to say that getting an extra income is easy. It's not easy, but there's opportunities for you to get an extra income. Now, with the internet, so many things online, you can get jobs online. I think the other day I went to, was it Fiverr or whatnot? I was looking for somebody to just quickly do a quick tax for me, and I even saw some Nigerians say that they were offering their services, how much per hour, and I was just like that. These are things like platforms that people can go in and learn their skills. If it's bookkeeping or even just because what I literally needed somebody to do was to research something for me that I did not have the time to research. Like that was all, and I paid the person like $50, and I was just like, what? So it's like small tasks like that, or even like designing. Just look for something, upskill yourself to get that extra income, because that will be a game changer to you having to even invest more or save more. And then start to be consistent with whatever you're doing when it's saving or investing. But don't forget pushing that level of like a higher income. It makes a difference.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you've spoken about, how young people can leverage on multiple income streams to build lasting wealth. So that's like the next phase, since we're talking about young people. So I'm glad that you've touched on that. And before we take on the final question, one question would be to ask you, like, what is one unconventional but underrated saving strategy that worked for you? Something unconventional, but it's underrated, like something that has worked for you or someone that you know.
I don't think anything unconventional has worked for me. Like, then I feel like we always try to think about one like magic. Like, it's just the boring stuff. Saving regularly. I would say maybe unconventional. I got a second job, and that made a difference in me. It was just, I think I just did it for 6 months. That was all, and that made a difference in like me being able to save more. But like, there's no magic out. There's magic. It's the boring stuff, and I always try to say it. Like, I feel like a lot of times we try to overcomplicate it and make it seem like it's more. No, it's the boring stuff. Save this amount regularly. Keep track of it. Put this amount of money in investment regularly. Reduce your income. The boring stuff that we said over, and that's what it is. Like, you don't need to do something magical. Apart from maybe you have a business, or you start a business, or maybe you you start an AI company or something that you sell, something like that. Apart from those dramatic stories, most people are able to make wealth through the boring stuff. I know of one girl that she literally just she's probably over $1 million investment portfolio, and she's always had a 9 to 5. But then she started to do content. So that was also another source of income. But really, it was really a 9 to 5. She was a software engineer, and obviously, no software engineers, they earn a lot of money. And she just kept putting money, kept investing, and she didn't do anything with her money. And also, another thing was she was not even buying individual stocks. She was buying 1 or 2 ETFs, and that was it. That tracked the S&P 500 and kept it in. And she made a $1 million net worth. And so it's the boring stuff that you need to do, and just hack the boring stuff, and that'll make a difference.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that. The last question is what is one saving mistake that you never repeat? And then you're going to add your response to a final word for someone listening, or someone that feels overwhelmed about saving, about investing. Yeah, what is one final message you like to give the person? And then what's one saving mistake that you never repeat again?
Yeah, so I won't say saving mistake, more like finance mistakes. So I think that the 2 mistakes that I made was when it came to like having a budget. Like when I was focused on paying off my debt, I was very, very strict in my budget. And so when I finished paying off that debt, I still continued to be very strict with it. And that left me feeling like I was not like, it felt like I was running a rat race, when it's like, oh, but you have money, like why are you living like this? So I think, and also it also made me realize that I wasn't even sticking to the budget because it was very, very restrictive. So having a very tight budget does not make sense. A budget, I love budgeting, but a budget is just supposed to guide your expenses. It's not supposed to lock you down and be like, oh, if you don't do this, I go to that. Just having a budget that guides you is very, very important. And I think another thing that I made a mistake of was not researching. Like there was a time when I was offered like a life insurance thing, and I didn't do a lot of maybe I did a lot of research because I knew that going into that thing, I knew from my guts that I was doing the wrong thing, but I was trying to help the person because I knew the person. And so for me, at some point, I still had to get out of it, and after I lost about 6K. I was like, my 6K, if I saved my money, it would have made a whole lot of difference. But it's like that for like sticking to your guts, and also ensuring that you know the full story about everything before making a decision when it comes to your money. And so when I say full story, because now you people would think that I say go and research the entire stock market before you invest. No, the basic have a fairly good knowledge about it and keep it moving. Things like stocks, investing, that's different. But life insurance is a very interesting topic and very complicated. So I still fully believe in life insurance, but that one that I got was not the best one for me at that point in time. So maybe sticking to my gut and just researching more, and that would have made a difference. Now, in terms of the final message, I'll just say that you have what it takes to build wealth. Everybody has what it takes to build wealth. You just have to be very strategic and really have a goal. So plan. Like I would say, like write the vision down. Like actually plan towards it. Like and be very serious with it. So for instance, even when I was leaving Nigeria to come to Canada, because I took student loans, before I left Nigeria, I already had a plan for how I was going to pay it off. That was before I left the shores of Nigeria. And so everything, my mindset was already geared for positivity, that no matter what I faced in Canada, I was still going to achieve it. So and I also say I'm a person of faith. Also with God made a difference in it for sure. But I'm just saying, like, being very, very strategic with your plan, laying it down and say, this is what I want to do, and this is the action I'm going to do to achieve it, and go for it. Building wealth it does not work for lazy people. If you're lazy, you're not going to build wealth. You're not going to earn an income. You have to actually work. You have to work. Even if you're going to, there'll be a season of time where it's be hard, you'll be tough, you'll be working hard. Go through that season, because life is in seasons. I always say this, like, there can be a season of even abundance, and there can be a season where it's like you don't have a lot. But the actions you've taken will make a difference for you when you're in the season where you don't have a lot. Because now, for instance, if you have an emergency fund and unfortunately you lose your job, you're still going to be good because you have an emergency fund because of the decision you made previously. So if you're going through a tough time, it's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not easy, but like, make decisions that your future self will be happy for, and continue to work harder is.
Right, before I let you go, I want to give a shout out to how people can connect with you, your platforms, and how they can just get to know you more. And after the podcast,
Yes, thank you. So I'll see I'm on TikTok and Instagram and I have a website. So on Instagram, my name is Aderimike Lala. So RIMIKE Lala. You'll find me on there. On TikTok, it's WealthSavyGenZ. So WealthSavyGenZ. That's TikTok. And then my website is also wealtheven.com. So wealtheven.com. And on there you can literally like email me. I have a you can book a one-on-one call with me. I also coach people like on like whatever financial thing they're trying to do, whether it's investing, paying off debt. So you can reach out to me from there and I would answer as much as I can.
All right. Thank you so much for the insightful conversation, Aderimike. You've heard it. You can reach out to us on TikTok, on IG, and on our website. I will be dropping that in the description box for the podcast. Thank you so much, Remike, for taking out time. I know we've been saying we want to do this, and for sharing your wisdom, your personal experiences, and also practical strategies that we can apply on our money journey. Yes, thank you so much. I would let you go now so that you can have it 1 year today and here. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. I didn't hear that. Sorry about that.
Much, Arafa. I really appreciate it. And thank you to your team. Yeah, really.
Right. Have a lovely day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much for listening till now. It's been a wonderful experience with Aderimike. This episode is actually very, very important because we've spoken about several things. And one of the key features that Aderimike itemized is how you can save in seasons, because life is in seasons. So you need to know when you can save, and also you need to like read before investing. You need to take action before saving. You need to have knowledge about what actually is saving all about or investing all about. Also, you need to take action because it's not enough for you to read to know everything, and also you need to plan financially. Also, there is also the aspect of appraising yourself, having a review about your finances. Yeah, I hope watching this episode informs you, at least inspires you to start saving, to start taking your finances seriously. If you ever felt overwhelmed or stuck when it comes to saving or investing, I hope this episode gives you clarity and the confidence to take your very first step, no matter how small. So remember that financial freedom isn't built one day. It's built with consistent, intentional habits, like Aderimike mentioned. Thank you so much for tuning in on Analytics podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review in the comment section. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep building towards the future you want. My name is Arafat Koseni, and I'll see you next time on the Analytics podcast. Bye.